Welcome to another Encounters episode. Today, we take a look at a rash of Bigfoot sightings that took place in Ohio. The Logan and Union counties, Ohio, Bigfoot flap of 1980. The month of June in 1980 was marked by a series of sightings by several individuals of a large hair-covered creature that frightened and intrigued the residents of that area. 5 people came forward willing to make public statements to law enforcement and to radio, TV, or newspapers. The people and dates of experiences are: Tuesday, June 17th, Patrick Poling. Thursday, June 19th, Thomas Quay. Thursday, June 19th, Ray Quay. Tuesday, June 24th, Donna Riegler. Thursday, June 26th, Larry Ramey. The first reported sighting was by Pat Poling on June 17, 1980. It was around 8:30 to 9 a.m. while cultivating his corn that Poling got his first look at the humanoid. He watched it come out of the woods, walk along the edge of the trees, as if it were looking for something.
It hadn't seen me yet. As I came down the field, he came across the end of the field along the trees and we were coming closer together. I decided to get a closer look, since I was on the tractor. When I turned the tractor at the end of the field, we were about 125 feet apart. He looked up and saw me and ran into the woods. At first I thought it was a bear, but it wasn't no bear. It came out of the woods and had to duck under a branch hanging out over the fence. Then it stood up. It was about 7 feet tall, but maybe more. I mean, it walked with its knees bent a little. It walked along the fence line. It wasn't like anything I seen before. It wasn't a monkey or a gorilla or anything. I watched it. I was really scared at first. But then I figured it couldn't hurt me as long as I was on the tractor. So I gassed the tractor to head it off. That is when it stopped and turned and looked at me.
Poling explained that even though he ended up about 30 feet away, he could not see any facial features. He described the being as 7 or 8 feet tall, about 400 pounds, black, covered in hair except for his hands. He also stated that the figure stood upright with its knees slightly bent and the hands held out, palms up. Footprints were discovered the next day. His neighbor Donald Matthews made a plaster cast of one of the prints. It measured 18 inches long and 7 inches wide. 2 days later, Thomas Quay reported his sighting. The 17-year-old was on his way to check the mailbox at around 8 a.m. on June 19th. He headed back to the house, and as he walked around the side of the building towards the back, he saw something at the edge of the woods about 120 yards away. The something appeared to be 9 to 10 feet tall, black, hairy, with little to no neck. He hurried into the house and called the sheriff's office. Deputies were sent out, including a helicopter, to help in the search. Later that day, Tom's father, Ray Quay, had his sighting. Golf course greenskeeper and part-time Russell's Point police officer, Quay owned a small 6-acre farm. He was off duty the night of his encounter.
I was unloading 8 pigs I had bought about 11 p.m. I shut off the light in the barn and went around the corner to see what my 2 dogs were raising Cain about. They never bark when I'm around. I stepped around the corner of the barn and saw this hairy animal. I thought it was a man, so I hollered at him. It took off. I've got some weeds out back I haven't mowed and they're waist high or higher, and the creature went through them with no problem. I don't know, maybe it's a man, but the odor about the thing was tremendous. It smelled like Limburger cheese on a hot muffler. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen anything like that. It was big and hairy and it scared the heck out of me and my dogs. In my mind, I say it's a bear because it makes other people around here feel better. In the back of my mind I say, no, that was no bear.
For deputies arrived that night and searched the area, but again came up empty. The next witness to officially report their encounter was Donna Riegler. Riegler was a legal secretary and her husband was a Union County game protector. She had always laughed at the idea of Bigfoot. But on Tuesday, June 24th, as she was on her way home, she had her ideas changed. It was around 5:30 p.m. and was rainy. Riegler reported, "I was in a good mood. I just wanted to get home. I went over the railroad track slow. I always do, because I don't want to knock my wheels out of line. Then I saw this thing lying on the road, hunched over. I thought it was a big dog at first. Then it stood up and I thought it was a man. I thought he was crazy, laying on the road. I couldn't figure why he was out there. Then he turned around and looked at me. The figure was about 60 yards away from her at this point. She realized that she could not see any facial features. I was scared. I was afraid he was coming after me. Maybe he didn't really come toward me, I was just scared. Reigler quickly reversed the car back over the railroad tracks and onto another road. She stopped eventually at a stranger's house where they let her in. She broke down crying and called her husband. When giving her report, she described the figure as standing upright with his knees bent, hands held out, palms up. This was the posture also described by Poling. She described its walk as stiff and robot-like. There were some who voiced the opinion that Reigler had seen nothing more than a jogger wearing a rain jacket. However, nothing was ever found to support that theory. The final reported encounter came on Thursday, June 26, by Larry Ramey. The 27-year-old was on a tractor in Logan County, just across the border from Union County. The creature came out of the woods and saw the tractor. A 13-foot, 270-horsepower tractor. It began to approach the tractor. At first, I took it was Al or Billy. 2 other men working with him in the fields. But then I saw it wasn't them. It was Big, Ramey said. When another tractor approached in the field, the creature retreated into the woods. The general description of the creature seen during these days was of a man-like creature, more than 7 foot tall. It had long hair, broad shoulders and a well-proportioned body. The being was not exceptionally long-legged or long-armed, but was said to be built like a large man. However, it moved stiffly. When it turned to look at people, it turned its whole body rather than just the upper portion or head. Not everyone in the area believed that Bigfoot was in the area. "Don't believe there is such a thing," one person said. "Just folks' imagination," said another. "But imagination doesn't make footprints," questioned another. "Those who saw it sure believe." As the creature made its way around the neighborhood, it left footprints behind. There was also trampled corn and crushed grasses. Said Union County Sheriff's Deputy Mike Powers, "We found definite signs that indicate something is there." At one point, there were hundreds of people driving around the country roads looking for the creature. Law enforcement felt it was creating a dangerous situation, with some of them being armed. They were afraid that some overeager searcher might shoot another searcher. As there was no indication that the creature was dangerous, they worked at sending the amateur searchers home. Among the more experienced researchers were Barbara Bylinovich, Leon and Betty Parks, Tom Archer, John and Bruce Rutkowski, and the Mammal Research Team from Lima, Ohio, headed by Bill Sheets. It was reported that the Lima Research Team found and took measurements and a cast of 3 claw marks. The claw prints were about 40 inches apart and had 4 toes. They were 16 inches by 4 inches. This sighting flap was only part of the larger Bigfoot sighting increase in the late 1970s, early 1980s. Some researchers felt that this increased activity was the result of an eastward movement of Bigfoot from the west coast due to the eruption of Mount St. Helens. Detective Mike Powers, Union City Sheriff's Department, said,
"Hey, I laughed at this whole thing at first, but now I'm not so sure.
We don't know what is out there, but people are seeing something. You can't make up that many stories like this," said another Union County official. This report presented by Crypto Crew team member Nancy Marietta. For those who may not know, Nancy passed away on the 1st of January, 2022. We will continue to honor her and her research by sharing her work. Rest in peace, Nancy. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notifications bell. Find more reports and our sightings map at thecryptocrew.com. If you have had a sighting or encounter, then please contact us via our website. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.